Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Professor Ramanjeet Kaur Johal from the Department of Public Administration, Punjab University, Chandigarh. Today we are going to discuss the topic Public Enterprises in India, Rationale and Role. In this, we will start by defining public enterprise, and then we will go on to understand what is the rationale and role of public enterprises in a developing economy like India, which has the objective of a socialistic pattern of society and is a mixed economy. We will then discuss the contributions that public sector enterprises have made to the socio-economic development of the country so far. After studying this module, you will be able to state the meaning of public sector enterprises, identify the chief characteristics of public sector organizations, state the rationale of objectives of setting up PSEs in India, discuss the different forms of PSEs in India, and explain the role played by public sector enterprises in socio-economic development. A public enterprise is a distinct legal entity that is owned by government, has an accounting system separate from the government unit that controls or supervises it, and is engaged in commercial, industrial, or financial activities involving the production of economic goods or services from which it is expected to earn a significant portion of its revenues. A public enterprise may be understood to be an activity in which the majority ownership and or control is non-private and which is intended to be viable through sales activity on the basis of price-cost relationships. The genesis of public enterprises and the process through which they have emerged. The emergence of public enterprises in developing countries has coincided with initial stages of industrialization and modern economic development in these countries. Public enterprises can be seen to have some important characteristics. One is public ownership. That is, they are owned and managed by the central or state government or by the local authority. The government may either wholly own the public enterprise or it may be partly with the government and partly with the private industrialists and the public. In any case, the control, management and ownership remains primarily with the government. Secondly, public accountability. These enterprises are governed by public policies formulated by the government and are accountable to the legislature through the parliament, because it is public funds that are invested to carry on the activities of the enterprise. Thirdly, the characteristic of public purpose. Unlike a private enterprise which is set up for business or profit, social aspects can well precede, supersede, and even completely engulf business considerations. The public interest also provides an undercurrent for all public enterprises' strategic decisions. Public enterprises have a wide range of activities. They are not guided by profit motive. In fact, their major focus is on providing the service or commodity at reasonable prices to the people at large. That is public welfare. Public utility services provided by public sector enterprises, services like transport, electricity, telecommunications, etc. Public enterprises are economic enterprises. The price charged for a good or service is expected to cover the cost. They have autonomous functioning. In spite of the initial huge investments made by the government, the PSEs are envisaged with a view to give them sufficient autonomy to manage their affairs in their own fashion. The government, in principle, does not interfere in their day-to-day activities. Public enterprises also have excessive formalities, as government rules and regulations force the public enterprises to observe them. This makes the task of management very sensitive and also cumbersome. Discussing the evolution of public enterprises in India. When India became independent in 1947, there were various socio-economic problems confronting the country. These had to be dealt with in a planned and systematic manner. It was primarily an agrarian economy with a weak industrial base, low levels of savings, inadequate investment, and lack of infrastructure facilities. There also existed considerable inequalities in income and levels of employment, glaring regional imbalances in economic development, and lack of trained manpower. Intervention of the state in all sectors of the economy was inevitable, since the private sector neither had necessary resources, nor the managerial and scientific skill, nor the will to undertake risks associated with large, long gestation investments. Planned development in India, based on the mixed economy model, laid a lot of stress on public sector enterprises. Over the years, they grew in magnitude and diversity. The Industrial Policy Resolution of 1948 reserved an area for the public sector, which was enlarged by the Industrial Policy Resolution of 1956, which declared that the management of government enterprises should be on business lines so that they should augment revenues of the state and provide resources for further development in fresh fields. Apart from the significant contribution in core and strategic areas, public enterprises have played a dominant role in the development and management of telecommunications, the generation and distribution of electricity, and the provision of railways and other modes of transport. Based on the decisions of the government, the Bureau of Public Enterprises issues guidelines from time to time and instructions on various aspects of management of public enterprises: general management, financial management, construction management, production and materials management, for their efficient and optimal working. In the 60s and 70s, the public sector policy had been largely guided by the IPR of 1956 that gave the sector a strategic role in the economy. Massive investments were made over the last 4 decades, and many key sectors of the economy are today dominated by the mature public enterprises that have successfully expanded production, opened up new areas of technology, and built up a reserve of technical competence in a number of areas. However, after the initial exuberance of the public sector entering a new phase of industrial and technical competence, a number of problems began to manifest themselves in many enterprises. These were observed in terms of low productivity, poor project management skills, over-manning, lack of technological upgradation, and so on, which will be discussed in a separate module. There were only 5 central public sector enterprises at the commencement of the first 5-year plan in 1950, with an investment amounting to rupees 29 crores. I think this last sentence is deleted. Is it possible? The rationale for setting up public enterprises was to ensure easier availability of vital articles of mass consumption, to introduce check on prices of important products, to help promote emerging areas like tourism, etc. A large number of enterprises were created out of sick units taken over from the private sector, among others to protect the interests of the workers. A number of public enterprises were created to operate in national and international trade, consultancy, contract and construction services, inland and overseas communication. The national responsibility of planning cannot be assumed or discharged by any authority other than the government. The success of a planned economy is based on the growth of the public sector. The state has laid upon itself, by the directive principles of state policy, the responsibility for the total socio-economic welfare of the people, fulfillment of specified aims of social and economic justice. The public sector can also help in achieving more rapid growth for the industrial sector. The public sector can be used to develop infrastructural facilities in the country. Major irrigation projects, steel plants, coal mining, petroleum refining, etc. could be established only by the public sector. The private sector, with a few exceptions, is not in a position to set up huge industries involving huge investments. The government had to take upon its shoulders the task of nation building and setting up key and basic industries. Private sector is guided by profit and sets up industrial activities in those areas where they expect security of investment and high rates of profit, often leading to regional disparities. Thus, the government is forced to intervene in the location of economic activities to ensure balanced regional growth of the country by diverting funds to backward areas. The public sector surpluses can be profitably utilized for social benefit. They contribute to the national exchequer towards further investment and growth of the economy. The public sector also the help it can give in achieving government objectives such as increasing employment opportunities, import substitution, national dividend, saving scarce foreign exchange resources, and other objectives that are in the larger interest of the nation. The private sector, on the other hand, may ignore social interests. Hence, the basic objectives assigned to the public sector are to build infrastructure for economic development and promote rapid economic growth and industrialization of the country, to create employment opportunities, to promote balanced regional development, to create a self-reliant economy through the development of local industries for import substitution, and by encouraging and promoting exports. Generate investable resources for development by earning suitable returns, to prevent or to reduce concentration of private economic power and promote redistribution of income and wealth, to promote import substitution and save and earn foreign exchange for the economy. Given the type and range of problems faced by the country on the economic, social and strategic fronts, it became a pragmatic compulsion to use the public sector as an instrument for self-reliant economic growth. There are mainly three forms of organization used for the public sector enterprises in India. These are the departmental undertaking, the statutory or public corporation, and the government company. The departmental undertaking is the fundamental unit of administration immediately below the chief executive in the administrative hierarchy and responsible for carrying out key governmental operations like railways, defense, and other public utility services. Is a publicly owned enterprise, a corporate body created by the legislature with defined powers and functions and financially independent, having a clear-cut jurisdiction over a specified area or over a particular type of commercial activity. The government company, like the public corporation, is set up for the conduct of business and industrial functions. It is registered under the Indian Companies Act and enjoys financial and administrative autonomy. It enjoys a separate legal status and the board of directors is appointed by the government. In a government company, the entire or more than 51% of share capital is invested by the government. Public enterprises combine both public and enterprise dimensions. Thus, the autonomy granted to public enterprises for meeting the commercial objectives is accompanied by accountability achieved through various control mechanisms. In case of public enterprises, non-departmental form, namely statutory corporation and the government company form of organization, is preferred over the departmental form by virtue of its insulation from political interference. Public sector enterprises have an important role to play in the socio-economic development of the country. In the socio-economic context, development means the improvement of people's lifestyles through improved education, income, skills development, and employment. It is the process of economic and social transformation based on cultural and environmental factors. Under the scheme of the Industrial Policy Resolution of 1956, the commanding heights of the economy were placed in the category of the public sector. Firstly, that of economic growth. The growth and performance of central public sector enterprises runs parallel with the growth of the Indian economy. These enterprises have been serving various macroeconomic objectives of higher economic growth, equilibrium and balance of payments, infrastructure development, and lower prices. Moreover, the Maharatna and Navratna enterprises constitute the elite companies of India in sectors like coal, petroleum, steel, heavy engineering, power supply, telecommunications, and transport services. They also play a very important role in the investment growth and share in the country's economy. While there were only 5 central public sector enterprises with a total investment of Rs 29 crore at the time of the first 5-year plan, there were 320 central public sector enterprises with a total investment of 11,71,844 crores as on 31st March 2016. Public enterprises also have a very important role in saving and capital formation. In underdeveloped countries like India, savings rate is very low. Low savings lead to low capital formation. This problem can be overcome through public enterprises. The share of India's public sector in the gross national product has been significant. During the year 2015-16, the number of profit-making central public sector enterprises have increased to 165 from 159 in the previous year. Regarding profitability, significant gains in terms of net profits were made by CPSEs in the coal, crude oil and transportation equipment, power generation, contract and construction and consultancy services. The overall net profit of the 244 operating CPSEs went up by 12.54% in 2015-16 from 2014-15. The number of central public sector enterprises signing performance MOUs with the government has also been on the rise. The MOU system that was started with 4 CPSCs signing MOUs in the year 1986-87 and committing itself to work efficiency has increased its coverage to 200 CPSCs in 2014-15. The total market capitalization of 46 CPSCs traded on stock exchanges of India is 11,06,766 crore as on 31st March 2016. During the initial years and even during the 90s, a large number of CPSEs were dependent on budgetary support extended by the central government. The enterprises in this category has gradually decreased over the years. CPSEs continue to dominate domestic output of key sectors. They continue to hold control across several industries despite opening up of several sectors for private investment. CPSEs continue to have complete monopoly in nuclear power generation. Other leading areas of dominance are coal, crude oil, refineries and wired lines. Central public sector enterprises operating in some industries are monopolies such as nuclear power generation. The other industries where they have a major share in domestic and national output are coal, petroleum, telecommunication, power generation and transmission. In the context of public sector enterprises, corporate social responsibility should also be viewed as a way of conducting business in the present times. After coming into force of the provisions of CSR in the Companies Act of 2013, all profit-making corporates, including CPSEs, have to undertake the CSR policy. During the year 2015-16, 106 CPSEs have spent 4,028.04 crore on CSR activities out of the allocated amount of 3,904.90 crore for the purpose. Public enterprises have also worked towards correcting regional imbalances. Typical examples are steel plants at Bhilai, Rourkela and Bokaro. Public enterprises have contributed to the national exchequer and generated internal resources in a big way. The CPSEs have made a substantial contribution to the central government through payment of dividend, interest, corporate taxes, excise duties, etc. This contribution has increased by 38.63% in 2015-16. Promotion of exports. The turnover of all 244 operating CPSEs during 2015-16 stood at 18,54,667 crore as compared to 19,95,176 crore in the previous years. The share of earnings through export or deemed export amounted to 4.16% of total turnover during the year 2015-16, and the CPSEs earned foreign exchange equal to 77,216 crore in 2016 as compared to 1,03,071 crore in 2014-15. Public sector enterprises are concentrating upon research and development. Technological collaborations with leading companies of the world has been another approach adopted by central public sector enterprises for upgrading their technological know-how. Public enterprises have been playing an important role in the development of human resources, particularly the trained manpower, which is very essential for the economic prosperity and industrial growth of a developing country. We can say that central public enterprises have undoubtedly played a crucial role in the modern Indian economy. So students, it is time now to summarize what we have discussed in this module. We have discussed that public enterprises are commercial undertakings, but profit is not their primary motive. In India, public enterprises are very important and have been accorded this importance in the industrial policy resolutions of the country announced in 1948 and then in 1956, where they were expected to take over the commanding heights of the economy and deliver socio-economic objectives. That is, to bring about development in core and strategic areas, to remove inequalities of income and wealth, and to remove regional imbalances. The departmental form, the company form, and the statutory corporation form are the main forms in which public enterprises have been set up. However, over the years, public enterprises have developed inefficiencies in their working. They still continue to contribute greatly to socio-economic development in the country, but are in need of reforms which have been initiated and will be discussed in a separate module. Thank you.